Whether you're a fan of the comics from the 90s or you just saw the show's incredible debut, you've probably already heard about The Sandman, the latest fantasy hit from Netflix. It's the long-awaited adaptation of Neil Gaiman's beloved comic book series, and fans think it's truly done justice to the material. The first season just dropped, but in today's video, we're going into what we already know about the second. For starters, the show is every fan's dream, pun intended. If you're a comic book fan and you hear that one of your favorites is getting adapted into a movie or TV show, there's always that dread that it'll be the worst thing you've ever seen and completely ruin the original for you. Fans had the same fear with Sandman, but the show rose above all expectations to dethrone Virgin River as the #1 most watched show on Netflix right now. It sailed past fan favorite Stranger Things and the highly anticipated Uncoupled to claim the top spot, and it's not hard to see why. The show follows Dream, a godlike creature also known as Morpheus. In a self-explanatory way, he controls the world of dreams and nightmares and is one of the 7 Endless, with his siblings including Death, Desire, Destiny, and so on. The first show centers on Dream being captured and held for over a century, while one of the nightmares he created runs loose. With a host of other exciting characters including the Endless, Lucifer, and DC favorites such as Constantine, fans are over the moon about the show finally being out. It's also one of the most faithful comic-to-TV adaptations in recent history, which is great news for the devoted following it's built up. This is probably because the series also had the original Sandman creator, Neil Gaiman, on board throughout the whole thing. You might know some of his other world-famous works, such as Coraline, American Gods, and Stardust. The 10-episode season follows the storyline of the first 2 graphic novels out of 10, namely Preludes and Nocturnes and The Doll's House. The first storyline follows Dream's capture by Roderick Burgess, and he finally escapes in 2021. The rest of the plot follows his return to his realm to see that things are messed up, and he sets out to recover some magical items that were stolen from him. The second storyline sees Dream venture out to bring some escapees back to his realm, and we get introduced to more of the Endless. So, are we actually getting a season 2? The journey to actually making The Sandman was a long and tedious one, spanning almost 30 years. Fans were first going to see it on the big screen from producer David S. Goyer, who's also done the Blade and Dark Knight trilogies. He was slated to make the movie with Gaiman and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was also going to star in it. Now that we think about it, he would have made a perfect dream too. Unfortunately, the movie was rewritten a bunch of times and nothing was decided, and eventually, Joseph left the team, citing creative differences. After that, there were many tries to make a decent script, but with Gaiman being on top of it all, he discarded each one he wasn't satisfied with. Now that it's finally being made, fans are dying to know if we're going to continue, seeing how there's plenty of source material to use as the basis for the story. Season 1 made huge waves, and it's no surprise that we're expecting a second. While Netflix hasn't officially greenlit the second season yet, the team behind the show is on board to cover the whole series. Goyer has already mentioned that he's started work on writing the next season, which means filming could start as soon as the network gives them the thumbs up on it. According to the producer, they used season 1 to lay the groundwork for the show, and they've introduced the audience to all the big characters already. Now that we have a basic idea, the team is looking forward to building upon the universe and is going for an even more outlandish storylines. The author had some exciting news as well, confirming that they shot footage in season 1 that will be potentially used in the last season. He went on to say that he and the team also know exactly how the show will pan out to the very last episode, with every storyline covered in between. The showrunner, Alan Heinberg, also said that the team would love to continue the show past the final season too. The original comics had many spin-offs, some of them not even written by Neil Gaiman, and Alan said that he's prepared to do a spin-off miniseries as well. The message here is clear. The team is deep into the Sandman universe. They're excited to do the rest of it, and all they need is the green light from Netflix on the show. Moving on to the plot, since the first season covered volumes 1 and 2, the second season is likely to cover 3 and 4, which are Dream Country and Season of Mists. Dream Country is a series of standalone stories covering issues 17 to 20 of the comics. One of these stories happens to be the encounter between Dream and a well-known playwright, Shakespeare. Season of Mists is widely regarded as the best volume in the whole series, and the plot is already set up in the show, with Lucifer plotting her revenge on Morpheus. The volume covers Dream and his ex-lover, adds more of the Endless, and even features Gaiman's versions of Thor, Thor, Loki, and Odin. At this point, we're expecting to see the new season in late 2023 or early 2024. That is, if Netflix wants to do it. Moving on, here are the faces we're expecting to see again. The show's casting has been applauded as well, as most of the actors mirror their comic counterparts perfectly. According to the cast, they were asked to bring their own personalities and interpretations into the characters as well, which worked out great for the show. If we get a season 2, most of the characters will reprise their roles, as the 75 comic series built up a universe where characters came, went, popped up here and there, and even showed up in some spin-offs. The actual Sandman, aka Dream, aka Morpheus, is the main character, and he's portrayed by Tom Sturridge. There's no debate about the fact that he was perfect for the role, and the only complaint fans had was that his hair wasn't as messy as it was in the comics. You've probably seen Tom before if you're a period drama fan, as he's had roles in Vanity Fair, Being Julia, and Mary Shelley. His biggest role so far was on the show Sweet Bitter, where he played the protagonist's main romantic interest. Gwendoline Christie brought the devil, Lucifer Morningstar, to life. She's probably one of the biggest names in the show, having had roles like Captain Phasma in 2 Star Wars movies, specifically The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. But if you don't remember her masked character, you might recall seeing her as Brienne of Tarth on the worldwide phenomenon Game of Thrones. She was a love-to-hate character, but she brought all that energy and power with her to the Netflix show. Another Game of Thrones actor, Carl Dance, joined the cast as Roderick Burgess, whom you might remember as Tywin Lannister. The Corinthian is that suave, charming nightmare who makes his way out of the dreaming, and he's played by Boyd Holbrook, and there couldn't have been a more flawless casting for the character. He's also had some big roles before, such as The Predator, Logan, Gone Girl, and most famously Narcos, as both Steve Murphy and the narrator of the show. The Doctor Who actress Jenna Coleman took over the role of Constantine, except it's not the John Constantine we know and love from the DC Comics. Instead, she plays Johanna Constantine, who's an ancestor of John and has appeared in the comics before. David Thewlis plays John Dee, and he previously had the memorable role of Remus Lupin in the Harry Potter movies. Kirby Howell-Baptiste plays the iconic Death, and the actress is best known for her role as Simone on The Good Place. So, fingers crossed we get to see them again in season 2. Now for everything else around the show. First, Neil is pretty mad at his fans about this. When news of the show first came out, longtime fans of the comics were naturally excited, but people wondered if those same fans might be upset about the new, fake fans who never read the comics. The author quickly shut that down, saying nobody would be allowed to gatekeep the show, and it was made for everyone. And did you know what this other show was based on? We've seen many adaptations of the devil in the media over the course of history, but this wasn't the first time we've seen Neil's version of Lucifer on the screen. Yes, the popular show starring Tom Ellis was also based on the Sandman's Lucifer, who leaves his realm in favor of our world. Lastly, here's a cameo you might have missed. The cast for the show is huge enough as it is, but there's an even bigger name hidden in the credits somewhere, and not everyone knows who it was. One of the dreams in the Sandman's realm is Mervyn Pumpkinhead, a jack-o'-lantern scarecrow hybrid, and he's voiced by none other than the world-famous actor Mark Hamill, best known as the iconic Luke Skywalker. That's a wrap for this video. What did you think of the show? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.